Hi there folks, in this next video in the fundamentals of mathematics, we're going to continue with our batch of lessons in operations of fractions, and we're now here actually in the multiplication of fractions. So the lessons here actually beginning multiplication and then division of fractions kind of, becomes more easier than addition and subtraction. So in multiplying fractions, okay, what we do is we multiply numerator to numerator and then denominator to denominator. So simple as that. You just need to don't forget your arithmetic and multiplication and such. Okay, and always remember to express the product, the result, in the simplest form that is also in the lowest terms. Okay, again, don't forget to express the product in simplest forms. Okay, and then how do we do that? Numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator. So to give you an example of that, so let's try to consider, say we have 4 over 5 times 7 over 12. Okay, so we have 4 over 5 times 7 over 12. So we multiply numerator to numerator and then denominator to denominator. So if we do that, 4 times 7 is going to give us what? 28. 5 times 12 is going to give us 60. Okay, so the multiplication itself is kind of easy, provided you are, you're familiar with your table of multiplication. That will be easy for you guys, hopefully. Okay, so if you have problems there, you could always go back and try the manual, um, you know, multiplication itself. So we have 28 over 60. So notice that um, we can, we can simplify this even further. Okay, we can simplify this even further. So with simplification, you can see that there is they have the common factor of 2. They have the common factor of 2, but their greatest common factor actually is 4. So what we do is we multiply this by 4. We multiply this by 4. How do we know that they are, multiples of 4? Because these last two digits are multiples of 4. This is, the last two digits is a multiple of 4. So remember, if we are ending with an even number, it should be 0. This is 0, or it can also be 8. Okay? Or 4. Okay? So if it ends with an even number, it can be 0, 4, or 8. 0, 4, or 8. Okay, so since they are divisible by 4, both of them, so we can do that. So 28 divided by 4 is 7. And 60 divided by 4 is 15. And that is our answer for number 1. Okay? Also, there's an alternative. If you try to look at this again, 4 over 5 times 7 over 12, actually, we can cancel out terms. Okay? We can cross cancel. For example, this 12 and this 4 have a common factor, or is a multiple, or are multiples of a common factor. That's 4. So if we're going to cancel this out, this will leave us 1. If we're going to cancel this out, dividing this by 4. If we cancel this out, dividing this by 4. So in the background, what we're doing actually is dividing this by 4, also dividing this by 4. And if we do that, 12 divided by 4 is going to give us 3. And then doing the multiplication itself in this new method, 1 times 7 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15, which is pretty much the same with our traditional one. Okay, which is equal to that. Okay, so if there are some common common factors for any cross numbers, numerator here, denominator here, or denominator here, numerator here, we can cancel that out. Okay, so for our next example, say we have something like number 2. Say we have a mixed number, 1 and 1/2, okay, times 3/4. 1 and 1/2 times 3/4. So we can see here that this number is mixed. Okay, this is a mixed number. and this is a regular fraction. So this is just a regular fraction. So if we have this kind of problem in multiplication, we cannot directly, it's still the same rule. We multiply numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator, but before we can even consider that, we need to see and consider the whole number here. So what are we going to do? So what we're going to do is actually we're going to change the mixed number, all mixed numbers, okay, into improper fractions. Okay, before multiplying. Okay, before multiplying. So let's do this. What is the improper form of 1 and 1/2? So if you didn't know that, so we have 2 times 1, and then we add 1 going this way. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. So what we have is this is equal to 3 over 2. And then we copy the denominator. And we multiply that by 3/4. So if we do that, so we have 3 over 2 times 3/4. So we do now the rule, since they are both fractions in fractional form, numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator. So if we do that, 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 2 is 8. Do we have any common factors? No, we don't have. But notice that they are improper. So this fraction actually is improper. So if this is improper, what we do is we translate them to mixed. So because, from the word itself, it's improper, so we divide 9 by 8. So if we divide 9 by 8, we have 1 as our quotient, and we have deduct 8 from 9, and then we have 1. So we cannot divide 1 from 8. So this is already the answer. This is your remainder. Let's say it rem as rem. This is the quotient, QUO, and this is your divisor, your denominator. So if we're going to do that in the mixed number form, this is just equal to our quotient is 1, that's the whole number. Remainder is 1, that's the numerator. And our denominator is 8, which is the divisor itself. And this is our answer for number 2, 1 and 1 over 8. Okay, 1 and 1 over 8. So that's for number 2. For number 3, what we have is directly a whole number multiplied to a fraction. A whole number multiplied to a fraction. So what we're going to see here, this is a whole number, or shall we say this is an integer? This is an integer. And here, this is a fraction. Clearly, we can see an integer times a fraction. So what are we going to do with this one? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to express integers as fractions. So how do we express integers as fractions? When we multiply, we just put or imagine fractions with 1, that is this number 1, as its denominator, Okay, and then we proceed then to multiplication, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's do this. So we have 5. So if we're going to imagine some 1 as a denominator, so 5 over 1, that will be it. Because 5 divided by 1 is still 5, right? So times that to 3/4. So if we do that, we follow the rule, multiply numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator. So if we do that, 5 times 3 is 15, 1 times 4 is 4, and clearly this is an improper fraction. Okay, so this is an improper fraction. So since it is, improper, okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to just, make it mixed. Okay, so how do we make it mixed? We divide it. So 15 divided by 4, how many 4s are there in 15? So that's very near to be 4, because 4 times 4 is 16, so this is only 3. 3 times 4 is 12. What's the remainder? We have the remainder as 3. Okay, so this is our remainder, our 3 as our remainder. This is our quotient, the 3 also. And this is our divisor, our denominator. So if we're going to express that as a mixed number, this will be 3, our quotient, and 3 as the numerator, our remainder, and 4 as our divisor. So we have our final answer 3 3/4 will do. Okay, so the answer is 3 3/4. Okay, so that's 3 3/4. Okay, so that's the end of this video in multiplication. Hopefully you got something there. And yeah, I will be creating more videos of these operations of fractions. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.